I'm a glass geek. I am, and it's all about glass a lot of the time. It's really, I guess the thing is if you're a glass blower, it has to be all-consuming. You know, I have been seriously obsessed with glass since 1996, and it's sort of like I'm learning in the past couple of years, like I need to have a balance in my life a bit, to not just do glass, but sometimes it's tricky. I mean, maybe in your careers you'll find this too, where it's like, you know, you really love doing something, you want to do it all the time, and if you're working in the arts, you have to work so extremely hard to make a go of it, that if you don't work a lot, like I don't know anybody who's an artist who's successful who doesn't work extremely hard. You know, it's the hardest I've ever worked in my life. I went to ACAD, Alberta College of Art and Design, for 4 years and studied there, and I've taken a lot of other classes since then. You know, in Scotland and in the United States, and then I work every day in the studio since then. And really, you know, it's not something that you can do quickly, learn how to do quickly. It's something that you can spend your lifetime. Well, you know what? I think I would say like probably my first kind of notion around glass was when I was about 18 and I was walking across the Louise Street Bridge, and it was winter time, and there was these big chunks of ice floating down the river, and it was just one of those, you know, beautiful, I don't know, maybe it was light a little bit like today. It was very muted, and you could see the reflection of the ice in the bottom of the river, and just, I don't know, the color of the ice, I just found it so incredibly beautiful, and I don't think I went, oh, glass, but it's something that, you know, when I look back, I think, you know, that kind of drew that sort of translucence and that muted light, I think really is something that glass has, and I think that, you know, that's sort of what I would describe as one of my early inspirations. Yeah. That force of life that we see in everyday nature around us, and in sort of this ordinary structures and forms that sort of takes. From there, you know, you take photographs, you do drawings, you make simple models out of paper and cardboard. Then you bring that into the glass studio and you make a simple model in clear glass. And then if your design requires it, you add color. So blowing glass, what you do is you get a hollow pipe, you get hot glass, gather hot glass on it like you're getting honey out of a honey pot. You pop a bubble into it, you use gravity and centrifugal force and different tools to shape it. And then you, depending on what the piece is, spend a lot of time engraving and polishing the bottom to get the sharp bits off. This is really a lot about geology, actually, and landscape, and, you know, just those beautiful moments when you see, you know, you're in Drumheller writing on stone and you see that cut of a cliff and you see all the layers of sediment. And so to me, this is, you know, just got that sort of beautiful kind of twisting and layers like you do see in the landscape. So, you know, this is a kind of a current, I would say, obsession of mine. I have another piece that I made like this that's in a gallery right now, and I don't think I ever look at it and think, like I always love it, you know, when I look at it. And I think that's pretty rare, because you know, you make a piece and you might be interested in it for a while, but then, you know, your interests change and things, you know, and things shift, and, you know, you make something different, or you know, draw upon that to expand it into something else. And so sometimes what you've made in the past, you've done that, you know, you're over it, you're on to the next thing. So, whereas, I guess this work, I just think there's so many layers to see with it, you know, like it's, you know, the way when you look on the inside and you see something different, or you see the light come through it and you see it sparkle, or, you know, the way it looks at nighttime. It's got so many aspects to it. It took so much work to get this studio put together. You know, it's, I think, you know, that's one thing that other artists don't ever have to think about. You know, they don't have to build their own furnace. They don't have to build their own glory hole. They don't have to build all this equipment. I mean, we could buy this, but it's extremely expensive. And so, you know, we didn't build the whole building, but we built the addition. We built the furnace. You know, we put in the gas line. We upgraded, you know, the electricity. I mean, it was staggering, actually, the set of skills that you need to be a glassblower. The community of Black Diamond is amazing, actually. I almost hesitate to say that because I don't really want people to come here and ruin it. You know, everybody in the town, like, we went and traveled and studied in Australia for a couple of years. And when I came back, you know, one of the owners of the liquor store near the gas station said, you know, what, Australia doesn't have their own glassblowers, they've got to take ours? Like, he felt this sort of sense of, you know, propriety and over us, and that was just really nice, you know, that they feel like we're their glassblowers. What I love about custom orders is, you know, most of the time I'm just here in the studio working by myself, you know, talking with studio assistants, and then sometimes I'm lucky enough and other people sort of show up and, you know, get a chance to sort of interact and get their perspective on what you're making. But sometimes you're in a bit of a bubble, like sometimes you need that bubble creatively. But so when you do commissions, you know, you get to find out about people and what they like and their home, and I just did this really lovely commission for this family. They had this alcoves that kind of went all the way up this fireplace that was like on a vaulted ceiling, and it was just so much fun because, you know, I knew what I was making the person really loved, and, you know, she said that, you know, every time she looked at the piece, she just got this huge smile on her face, and I thought, well, that's my job, it's done. You know, if I've made something beautiful and it makes somebody happy, you know, I can check that off my list, you know, like, I think that's, I don't know, I guess I think in some ways that's part of what, you know, what we add to the world, you know, because I think there's a lot of stuff out there, but if you can create something of beauty that makes someone happy, oh, that's a good thing. I guess I would say my greatest accomplishment as a glassblower, as an artist, is making work that I like, making work that makes me happy and that I feel good about, and I feel says something. Not just making stuff, but something that, you know, like in that situation where that puts a smile on somebody's face. And I guess sort of in second running is the things that I've done to create community. You know, when I walk into the studio and I see a bunch of young glassblowers making their work, and they're excited and they're sharing ideas, as opposed to just, you know, working jobs and not having that opportunity, that makes me really happy because I feel like I'm building a legacy.